Gerry Dulat of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazzette recently had a lot to say about Matt Canada. I'm going to go into detail about what he said and break down what he meant and what this means for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Please hit that like and subscribe button. You don't want to miss any of our daily segments and our weekly lives. Here recently, we had Dave Schofield of the Behind the Steel Curtain, editor for Behind the Steel Curtain, recently on the podcast, doing a live. Please go back and watch that and catch that. Also, we're giving away 2 tickets to see the Steelers as they take on the Jets on October 2nd in Heinz Field. The only thing you have to do to be entered into that contest is be a subscriber. I highly encourage you to hit that notification button or that notification bell, because we'll be going live on July 4th to announce the winner of that contest, and you'll have to be present on the live. So for all you lucky subscribers out there, or for all you to-be lucky subscribers out there, good luck. With that being said, guys, I'm Daniel J. This is State of the Steelers, and welcome to the Huddle. So Gerry Dulat had a lot to say here recently about Matt Canada and the Matt Canada offense. He recently was a guest on the Vinny and Haney show on 105.7 FM, The Fan in Baltimore. That's the big red flag first and foremost. But basically what he was saying was he was talking about his displeasure with Matt Canada and his offense last year. He went into detail and spoke how the Pittsburgh Steelers were only able to, come up with 34 offensive touchdowns, which was 7th fewest in the league. He talked about how 7 of the 9 games that the Steelers won came only after Ben took over the offense and was able to have a surge late in the game to win the games. He stated that coaches and players were upset with him, and then he also doubled down again on stating that there was some bad blood against Ben Roethlisberger and the Pittsburgh Steelers, which I think is a bunch of baloney and just trying to get some hot takes. Whether Ben was ready to retire at this point or not, I think he was. It was stated early and often last season that, to the players at least, and they were disclosed later on. Like, for instance, Najee Harris had disclosed later on in the season that Ben had came up to him early on in the season and told him that he was probably going to be retiring. So this wasn't something that wasn't unknown. I think this was probably planned since last year, probably planned since Ben inked the contract, stating that extension, that 3-year extension back in 2019 before his elbow pop. Without all that said, I don't think there's any bad blood between Ben Roethlisberger and the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think Mr. Dulac right here is just, trying to get some hot takes and some clickbait out there to get some attention to him. When it comes to Matt Canada's offense, I agree. It was very poor. It was very bad. As an offensive coordinator, your job is to do what you can with the offense, with what you have, and make it a successful offense. And last year, our offense was not successful. Now, I don't think that it all fell on Matt Canada. Having a 39-year-old quarterback in Ben Roethlisberger probably is one huge reason as to why we were running the offense as what we were running. And the other thing is the inexperience and the newness of the offensive line. Last year, we had a center in Kendrick Green who is no longer even playing the position 1 year later, starting for majority of the season. He was undersized and it showed. He was pushed around a lot. He was on the ground quite a bit. And we also had a rookie left tackle in Dan Moore. Now, as much, potential and as much flash as he showed, he was still a rookie last year and made a lot of rookie mistakes. Ben was forced to play an offense where he had to release the ball extremely quickly. And, given the offensive line that they had, outside of maybe potentially Lamar Jackson, I'm not sure how much, what quarterback with that offensive line can do outside of throwing the ball very quickly. Now, if you only have 2 seconds to throw the ball, you're either going to throw the ball short and intermediate, or you're going to throw the ball long on a play that's determined either at the line of scrimmage prior to the ball being snapped, or just as the ball is being snapped. There's no time to allow the plays to progress. and defenses were aware of that, and they played the Steelers in a manner that in which we had no option or anything else to do. I mean, what were we supposed to do? Wait for the play to develop and have our 39-year-old quarterback get injured? What is it that we're going to do? Design some running plays with Ben? They were limited. Also, with Ben's ability to throw the ball down the field when a receiver was coming open was in question a little bit. Rightfully so. The guy was 39 years old, coming off of a major surgery to his elbow. The expectations were a lot higher than what probably should have been when it came to Ben. And so I'm not sure what more Canada could have done in those situations. You also have to remember we had an offensive line coach who didn't finish the year. That is how bad the offensive line was. Clem took a job in Oregon to be an offensive line coach. Going from the pros to the college isn't a step up when you're doing the exact same thing. I dare to ask Mr. Dulac, what is it that Matt Canada could have called differently or done when you had an inexperienced offensive line? An offensive line is also, if you guys can remember, wasn't put together until right before the season started. It was expected that Zach Banner was going to be on the right side at the tackle position. It was expected that Chuks Okorafor was going to be the left tackle. It was expected that DeCastro was going to be your right guard, assisting Kendrick Green. It ended up being Ray Turner, Chuks Okorafor on the right side, and Dan Moore, rookie, on the left. And so there's a lot of moving parts there and a lot of things that I don't think that we can just all throw on Matt Canada, in my opinion. Now, we have a new offensive line coach in Pat Meyer, somebody who's experienced in that position as a professional offensive line coach. We've picked up good free agent linemen, in my opinion, in Mason Cole to replace the undersized Green. And then we also got James Daniels, formerly of the Chicago Bears, who, in my opinion, is going to be a beast. Dan Moore is another year, is going into his second year, so we're expecting him to have that second year jump. And Chuks Okorafor, they paid him significant money. He's put a great show in the past. He's done some things like kept Von Miller in check, Myles Garrett in check, etc. And the list can go on of the top tier defensive ends that Chuks Okorafor has limited. And so, he's a young guy. This line is relatively young. They have a chance to grow together and become a staple point, similar to like your Ramon Foster's, Marquise Pouncey, your DeCastro and whatnot. That core offensive line from 2010 through 2017. That was the best in the league, that allowed Le'Veon Bell to be considered the best running back in the NFL. And where's he been since? None but crickets. That offensive line did very well. And I think that this offensive line has that opportunity to become what that offensive line was, given their age and experience already. So things are looking up. This year, Matt Canada has no excuses. He has a younger quarterback in either Mitch Trubisky or Kenny Pickett or even Mason Rudolph. He has all of those quarterbacks are more mobile than Ben Roethlisberger, two more mobile than Mason when you look at those three. You have pedigree in those picks. You have two two first round quarterbacks, and one that you as the organization gave a first round grade. And so there's no excuses there. You have the talent, you have the ability, you have Najee Harris, you have the offensive line revamped, and then you picked up George Pickens, who, in my opinion, is going to compete with Chase Claypool, given their similar skill set. They're about the same height, I think George Pickens is lighter than Claypool, but both were supposed to be tall, sub, around that 4.4 40 running type of speed. And I think they're going to be competing for the same position, that that receiver that's going to press the cornerbacks and the safeties back to. That's going to allow a little bit more time for the quarterback to make some decisions. It's also going to allow Najee Harris to feed and give a little bit or loosen a little bit of pressure on this offensive line. Those are all things that we have not yet been able to see because of a young offensive line and an old quarterback that we had last year. I think it'd be unfair to say that Matt Canada was at fault here. There's no excuses this year. If we come out flat, if we're not, scoring more than 34 touchdowns in the entire year in an expanded season, especially with 17 games, then Matt Canada does need to be on the hot seat and be held accountable. But until then, I think we got to give him a chance. I think he needs his opportunity to show that with the right pieces, he can do his job. When Todd Haley first came to the Pittsburgh Steelers, a lot of folks were very upset about the offense that he was bringing on board. And it took a little bit before that offense kind of picked up and became what it was towards the end. And I think we got to give Matt Canada that opportunity. But that's all I got for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please hit that like and subscribe button. Don't forget, we're giving away 2 tickets to see the Pittsburgh Steelers play live against the New York Jets. With that being said, guys, I'm Daniel J. This is State of the Steelers. Peace.